Good morning. It's November 16th, and Food Service Director Tim Paquette of the Stonington Public Schools and an intern that's working with Tim, Paula Henn, and I, Terry Jordan, the principal of West Vine West Broad Street School, are here to talk to you a little bit about some of the exciting programs we have that are going on that are focused on teaching our students about both good nutrition, physical exercise, and just about health and well-being, how they can develop well-being in their own lives. And we have just so much going on in the schools that we thought we'd just take a little bit of time to sit and chat and introduce you to our programs. The reason we're here together today is because we're waiting for a representative of the USDA to join us to celebrate with us an award that we've received that Tim organized for us, and he'll be telling you about it. An award called the U.S. Healthy School Challenge. Right, the U.S. Healthy School Challenge, and we'll be celebrating that today at all 3 elementary schools in town. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Tim, just to give us, well, you know, I did want to say that Tim and I have a very long relationship. I think since I came here, I've always pushed a little bit, and he's been, yeah, let's do it. And one of the things we started, I think almost 8 years ago, was the food and water program at West Broad Street School.
That's right.
And I know you'll talk a little bit about that. That is very successful. I remember when we first introduced it, having children who didn't even know they had to peel a banana in order to eat it. And, you know, children love that fruit and water program.
They do.
For the most part. Exciting. So that's another part of all the work that we're trying to do at these schools. So let's hear a little bit more about what's going to happen today, and then some of all the initiatives taking place.
I think I'd like to talk a little bit about the fruit and water, because I think that was probably one of the first things that led into this, and part of that is, with any of these initiatives, it involves more than just any one department. You know, when we first said that, it was like, well, sure, we can provide a fruit and water snack for the students, and I think that's a great thing for them to, you know, to have a piece of fresh fruit every day and water. And there was some brain research that went along with that that promoted that was a good idea, and it promoted learning. And I said, well, it also gets them up and stretching and walking down to the cafeteria to get a snack. And
that's right. It was part of our movement break.
It was part of our movement break. So, so we tied it all together. We tried it, but that wouldn't have worked if we didn't have the cooperation of the staff who were willing to do the washing and the cutting and the peeling and the presentation of the fruits, and you know, ordering the fruits that are in season so that they're reasonable and they're the peak quality. So it was something that when we did it, it was pieces of a puzzle. We first put it together, and it was very, very successful. But what I thought is the biggest success of that program is the fact that students at Pawcatuck Middle School, when they leave West Broad School, consume more fruits and more vegetables in the middle school level. So you know what they're learning over at West Broad School carries over into Pawcatuck Middle School. So you can see that they're developing a habit that this doesn't last while they're at West Broad. It continues.
Yeah.
And we see it at the high school too. More students are, instead of grabbing a juice for something quick to drink, they're making the choice to grab the fresh fruit. And so it's really works. Today we're celebrating the Healthy U.S. School Challenge, and representatives coming to each of the schools to present the schools with a banner. And that's going to be a really exciting event. And again, that's a community-wide event. And it just wasn't, you know, the food service program promoting, you know, the menu to do this. And that is a component of it. We had to, you know, menu certain amount of leafy green vegetables and orange vegetables and a different fruit every day of the week and a different vegetable every day of the week. And 3 of the menus had to have whole grain components, and there has to be beans and legumes on the menu. So these are a lot of new products for the students to try. So if it doesn't have the support of the kitchen staff to really sell the idea to the kids to try these, they're going through the effort of making them, but saying, really try it. And a lot of times they'll put it on a tray and the students won't try it, they won't try it. But eventually they might try a bite, and then eventually they say, well, this isn't so bad after all, and then they start eating it. And so, and that's the whole purpose of this. You know, it's not going to be an immediate, when you put these things out, they don't immediately take them, but as they see them and are encouraged from the kitchen staff to do that, they start to consume more of them.
I can't even tell you how much the kitchen staff at both schools are such, cheerleaders in terms of promoting. They are just so enthusiastic themselves and so interactive with the children and always creating their own bulletin boards or their own events or their own things that are going on to engage the children in the food.
And without
really
that, the program wouldn't work. I mean, it really has to have that part of it. And then there's the health education. They have to have a certain amount of PE in the curriculum, so the administration has to be cooperative. We're not allowed to give students food as a reward, so they had to have that as a component of our wellness policy. So there's some administration support that goes into this. And then the PE teachers working with the students on nutrition education, and the nutrition education that we have in the classrooms, and also in the cafeteria. And with that, I'd like to introduce Paula to tell a little bit about an initiative we're doing here at West Vine School called the Build a Tray program. And it happened to come out, and it really fell into line with the whole, the My Plate. So,
Definitely.
Paula really, we bought the signage program for it, but Paula really kicked it off. So Paula, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about how you did that.
Yeah. Honestly, it was a great tool. I mean, everything was right there for me. I just had to run with it. Basically what Build a Tray does is it teaches the students how to build a healthy lunch tray. You have your milk component, you have your protein component, your vegetable, your fruit, and your whole grain. So it was just a matter of teaching the children, okay, it's really important that you pick a component or a food from each of these groups, because that's what's going to help you build a healthy body. That's what's going to give you energy to sit through class and learn and play. And it's just a really great program. So what I did was I created these really large flashcards. And I went through the menu that was being offered for the month. And I picked different components from each day. And what I did was I made pictures of those different foods and I put them on the flashcard to show the children, look, if you want protein, you can get some chickpeas at your lunch. Or even that hamburger patty on your hamburger. Or even the chicken that's offered. And I tried to make the association that way. The same thing with the fruit. I took pictures of apples, oranges, bananas, and I put it on the flashcard to show them, see, these are the foods that are associated with fruit. And I went through this entire presentation, and I had, we went through everything, and then I actually had the kids help me build a tray. I took a tray, took pictures of different pieces of food, and I had the kids help me match up the appropriate food with the appropriate component. And they did great, they did wonderful. And I actually have them back a few times since then just to follow up with the kids, and they're still playing the game. And it's encouraging to me because when I walk in, they immediately associate me with the Build a Tray program. And they immediately go in and they make that healthy tray, and they come out and they show me, look, I made a healthy tray. I have all of my components on the tray. So it is working. It is making an impact. We just have to keep reinforcing the message of you need to build that healthy tray. You need to make healthy choices. And if we keep reinforcing it, they'll carry it on.
And once again, the kitchen staff is, I hear them every day, telling the kids and talking to them as they go through about building that tray and getting all those components on their tray as part of their lunch and reinforcing that. And I love the use of visuals, that the way that you reinforced everything with visuals, so the kids actually start thinking about, oh yeah, I'm putting labels to the different components.
What's also helpful too is when the children walk through the tray line, the different symbols that represent the different food groups or the food components are actually laid out in front of the food. So that helps them make the connection as well.
A little bit better than that pyramid that we,
we
never really, okay, we knew the pyramid, but
it was hard to read.
And not, we weren't doing it at such an early age. This is first grade. We're
I
having
think
these
what was
conversations.
amazing is that when I first saw a presentation on Build a Tray, it was before My Plate came out. And I said, boy, if there's, and matter of fact, some of the education materials that came with it still has the old pyramid on it. But I said, boy, were they ahead of their time in foreseeing that this My Plate was coming up as a way of teaching healthy eating and good nutrition. Because boy, it feeds to that perfectly. It really does. It's, instead of being in a circle, it's more like the lunch tray, the typical lunch trays that we have. But the components are all there in the exact same way.